There are so many red flags that can be involved in lease agreements. And this is really something that I see so often where a tenant does not have someone review the lease before they sign it. And then they have to, on the back end, figure out how they get out of the lease or how they avoid the illegality that was included in the lease. So, in terms of common lease terms that tenants should look out for, I think the big thing is the automatic renewal clause. Include an automatic renewal clause that renews the lease for another year or another 2 years or however long the lease term was to begin with, and you're stuck. Right. And so if you don't pay close attention to that automatic renewal term and you just sign and then come at the end of the lease, you think you're going to move out and move on to the next place. No, you're liable now because the automatic renewal clause was there that obligates you to remain in that property for however long the lease term renews. So I really urge people to be careful about that. Always be clear about how the lease is terminated. You really want to make sure that you know that because, if you're obligated to give notice, you want to make sure that you do that in a timely manner in a way that effectively terminates the lease. Something else that I think is a good thing to watch out for with lease agreements would be just random fees, right? Sometimes landlords will include, you get a fee for this and a fee for that, and they're dinging you left and right. A lot of times that's illegal, depending on the amount of the fee and what the fee is for. It can be illegal. So, for example, I have seen in the case law where a lease agreement required a $500 fee for an application and move-in process, which, if it was $50, okay, fine, but $500, that's illegal. Courts will not uphold something like that. So I really urge people to be careful about fees that may be hidden in lease agreements. And then I think, a final point, I would urge people to take caution. Sometimes landlords will specify how you can breach your lease. So they'll say things like, you can't have overnight guests for, 3 days or, just different requirements that are illegal. Right. And if you don't read the lease carefully, you'll never know that. So I certainly urge you to look for things like that as you review the lease, just to be clear that the lease is not asking of you something that's either illegal or just difficult for you to comply with.